What is up, fellas and lady fellas? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I've got another deck profile for you. This time we're looking at ABC post-eternity code. I know I don't have a Union Driver yet. I proxied it. But just keep in mind, this is post-eternity code with Union Driver. I think this deck is really cool. Is it competitive? I think it can compete with most of the decks that are in the meta. Is it like a top option? No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's tier 2. I would say it's probably around tier 3, in that range probably. But it's really cool. It's fun to play. You rotate your resources so much, and you know, it's a Kaiba based deck, so you gotta love that. But without further ado, we're going into this. One more thing before we jump in real quick is this is not a combo version. There's like two ways really you can mainly play ABCs. You can play like the mid-range version, which we're playing here, mid-range more control version, or you play like a combo version with like Galaxy Soldiers and like the Symphonic Warrior package, all those things. But in my opinion, that version is like way less consistent, and it just hurts like hand trap wise. Like if you get hand trapped a lot of times with that version, it's just like pass. But in this version, like you get hand trapped, you're just like set 2 back row and like have a hand trap in hand and pass. And like that still gets the job done. You're still like, okay, but now you have to play through 3 disruptions, so you can still get it done in those instances. But yeah, just want to give you a heads up on that. But without further ado, let's jump in, starting with our monsters here, starting with the basic stuff, like nothing too crazy here. 3A, 3B, 3C. Not really getting crazy here. I think these are great. I think you got to play 3, and I've come to accept C as a good card. I actually don't hate C ever. Like obviously it's the weakest of the 3. B is by far the best of the 3, but you know, C definitely comes up, especially because it can get Union Driver out of your hand, which matters a lot actually. And then for the only other like extenders we play, as far as like starter / extenders like you want to open, are gold and silver gadget. Just playing 2 of each. You never really want to see multiples of either. So like 1 and 1 is fine, but you don't want to see like 2 and 2. So that's why I'm not playing like 3 of each. I think 2 and 2 is a pretty good number, especially since we have like the new extender in unauthorized reactivation, so that like we don't really need it. But they're good. They float. They get bodies out of the board and give you 2 monsters on board, so that you can make like a platinum gadget. So like this plus a B is like good, or this plus any piece and a an extender from there is like getting you combo. So a mini combo. They're not like crazy combos, but they're combos that get you Buster Dragon on the board, or Dragon Buster. So yeah. And then we have our 2 copies of Union Driver. You know, this is the best proxy you'll ever see. Just put a copycat in there. But yeah, Union Driver. If you don't know what this card is, guys, this is the new card from Eternity Code. This card says, while it's equipped to a monster, you can detach it, or you can banish it, sorry, to equip another appropriate Union monster straight from the deck to whatever he was equipped to. So the reason that matters is we have multiple extenders in the deck that equip something to a monster on your board, but the monster you equip cannot be summoned that turn. So by playing something like Union Driver, you can equip him with those effects. He can't be summoned that turn, but if you banish him to equip something else, the new monster you equipped can, because that card is not under the restriction. So he allows you to bypass those restrictions. He's level 5, which kind of stinks, but if he was level 4, he'd actually be like insane. I'd play him at 3 probably if he was level 4, honestly. But yeah, still not complaining. But yeah, 2 to Union Driver. 3's overkill. 1's probably not enough, because sometimes you want to go through 2 of him in a duel, and also we play Desires, so you don't want to like just lose access to him off of Desires super easily. So yeah, 2 feels like a good number. And the only other monster we play is 3 Ash. I know Ash isn't like the best thing versus like Eldritch and Emancipator. It feels kind of lackluster, but I feel like it hits everything somehow. And I feel like that is still like worth just like the versatility of a card like this. You can side other stuff for like the most important matchups in the meta, but I felt like this just doing something versus everything just makes it worth playing. And we're playing the more mid-range version too, so it's just more versatile of a hand trap than most. Then we get to our best card in the deck, which is just Union Hanger. Other than like Dragon Buster himself, this is like the best card in the deck. This card is to this deck what Hidden City is to Subterrors. It's like the single most powerful card you can open, because it gets you so much, especially now with Union Driver, because this card like by itself gets you an ABC Dragon Buster, I believe. Yeah, by itself it gets you use ABC Dragon Buster, because you just use this, search a piece, normal summon a piece, equip Driver, banish Driver to equip a B, if you didn't already like search B in the first place, special B, so you needed a B on your field as one of the two pieces. Then you link them off. B gets you a search, but you linked it into Platinum Gadget. So then Platinum Gadget can special the third piece you searched, and then you can just banish the two from grave and the one on field. So this card by itself is a 1-card ABC Dragon Buster, which is what you're looking for. It's just like efficient ways to get Buster on the field. That's what the mid-range version aims to do. And yeah, the field spell does it as 1 card. So single most powerful card in your deck. And this is the only other proxy we have in the deck. This is unauthorized reactivation. I actually ordered it online and it never came, so I got a refund on it. So that's why I'm kind of peeved, because I really wanted to have it to make this profile. Whatever. If you don't know what this card does, it's a quick effect. It kind of does like what your field spell does, but quick effect equips a union monster to a machine monster on your field. But the monster you equip can't be summoned that turn, but that's why Union Driver, again, is so good, because you can just equip a Union Driver, banish the Union Driver, equip something else, and then special the one that you equipped off of Union Driver. So it essentially can be just like a special summon a piece straight from deck. So strong. So strong. But also, it does matter that it's a quick play, because one of the low-key effects that people forget about ABCs is that all of the pieces, your A, B, and C, whatever they're equipped to, gets immunity from certain types of effects. So A gives stuff immunity to monster effects, B gives stuff immunity to spells, and C gives immunity to traps. So you could set this if it didn't really benefit you to activate it on your first turn, and then as like something, if your opponent tries to break through your board and try and like remove something with card effects, you can then just like chain this to equip a monster to make your monster like unaffected by that type of card effect, and then force your opponent to waste a resource or something. Like that could actually be pretty good. Or if you just had a Buster, like you give a Buster like equip it with an A, unaffected by monster effects, that's actually pretty scary. So yeah, like it has other uses as well, not just as an extender, but as like a protection card as well. So keep that in mind. It can totally come up. For draw power, just 2 Desires and the Upstart Goblin. Nothing too crazy here. Like, we're playing 3 of everything that matters. Like, banishing Union Driver doesn't make you lose the duel, so it's fine that we're playing him at 2. As long as you don't banish all 3 of any of your pieces, you should be fine. And like, if you have a way to like pull pieces out of the deck first, I would before firing this off, just so you don't like auto lose duels as easy, you know. So just play it smart and a little safer, and then the Goblin. So 39 card deck, you know, pretty easy. Looking for consistency. And then the last spell we play is just 3 Called by the Grave. This is one of those things, I only really like playing this card in decks where you have like a very clear, like obvious option where like you look at a card and you're just like, if that card gets ashed, you could be in a lot of trouble. And that main card is like Union Hanger. If you get ashed on Union Hanger and you don't have like a good summon, like it's so bad. So I really like this like versus Ash, as well as just the fact that it's good versus Eldritch. It can be good versus Block Dragon, like going first, and the Emancipator matchup, and just so many decks right now that if you want to be a good deck, you probably use the graveyard in some way. So this card's good. Just I like that it's versatile. It's not just like play through an Ash, but it also has the utility of letting you play through other stuff, or be a disruption, or be whatever else you need. Other than that, for traps, we play 3 Infinite Impermanence. This could be any other hand trap if this is high. I know this is higher on like the price range, but this deck actually really isn't that expensive. I'm looking at it now. No, I mean really nothing in the main deck is like expensive like at all, other than like Impermanence that I'm playing. But like this could be Veiler if you want. Doesn't have to be a trap. Doesn't even matter. So you could play Veiler, Ogre, Nibiru, whatever you want to play. Again, this is a mid-range version of the deck. You could play Nibiru if you want a little more impactful of a hand trap, but this is just what I decided to play, because like Impermanent Ash are like my 2 favorite hand traps. I just think they're the most versatile versus anything. And then we finish up with a Solemn package, 3 Strike, 3 Judgment, finishing us off here. These are like power plays going first. Not like power plays, but like power cards going first, because your deck mainly is built to be consistent in just making at least Dragon Buster turn 1. That's what you're trying to at least open every turn 1. And then these are like what you want to draw with him, because like 1 Dragon Buster, a lot of decks can play through 1 Dragon Buster. But a Dragon Buster plus a Solemn, or a Dragon Buster plus a hand trap, plus a Called by the Grave, plus an Impermanence, you know what I mean? That's where it gets sticky. So that's why we play all these cards between, you know, 3 Ash, 3 Called, 3 Imperm, and then 3 of each of these. You have like, you know, there's 12 cards. No, that's more than 12, right? Yeah. That's 15 cards right there that like we also can open that could just be extra disruptions on top of our Dragon Buster. And that's where the mid-range ends up coming in. Where Dragon Buster handles the majority, it's all based around Dragon Buster. These are just cards to support him. So this is the version I elected to play for this deck. That's 40 cards in the main. You know, I want to consistently be able to make Dragon Buster, you know, as easily as I can. So 40 seems right there. Moving into the extra deck, obviously one copy of Dragon Buster. Not really going to say too much about him. For our suite of Link 2s, we have like a very important suite of Link 2s. Union Carrier comes up and pulling pieces out of the deck that weren't already there. That's all it really does. Also you can pull like a Union Driver, then Union Driver special one from deck. So it kind of just says special piece from deck. Platinum Gadget, very, very important. This card comes up in like almost every turn one play where you're just trying to make Buster. Like actually, it's really good. One Clee4 Genius. This is an 1800 beater. It has some nice protection effects, protecting him from anything but other Link monsters and spell and trap effects. So actually, like certain decks, like actually have problems like dealing with this for sure. Let's see, Bujinki Ahashima. This is another new card that's really clean. I mean, all your pieces, almost all your like monsters that matter are level 4. Your gadgets, your pieces, everything. So as long as you have extra copies like in hand or in grave, you can use this thing to special one from grave, one from hand, and then immediately make an Exceed. So I really, really appreciate this card. And then also if the monster it points to detaches material to activate its effect, you can just pop a spell or trap. So you also get some extra removal. Making like Dweller under this is really good because you can Dweller on your opponent and then also pop a card as a quick effect like off the Dweller. So you could do some pretty cool stuff there. One copy of Barricade Board Blocker. I think this card could probably just be IP Masquerena if you have it. I don't have my IP Masquerena right now. Usually you use this just in case you have like the last piece in your hand and you can't really get it out of your hand as easy, and you just want to discard it. That's like really the main thing, as well as like you could get a field spell back from grave. So there is some utility there. Like I think he's fine, but I think IP Masquerena might be better than him overall in terms of just like if you're trying to make a slightly better board, you end like Buster plus Masquerena. That way you could like banish something with Buster, tag Buster out, and then use Masquerena to link off. In which case you also would get the ability to like spin something with Unicorn and get like a float off of like a bee that you linked off with. So that's pretty cool. Nightmares, nothing too crazy here. This deck has a lot of good discards. I mean, just discarding pieces to grave is good because they all float. Yeah, so that's like the main thing there, and like if you play Masquerena, this card obviously becomes better. All of them actually become better, but yeah, just taking care of first problem cards. It's Nightmares. Like you should be used to seeing Nightmares in like so many decks. And the only other link I play is one Borlode. Actually, I would probably play Boral Sword. Mike actually has my Boral Sword, so I'd probably play Boral Sword just because it comes up a lot of the time where when you go first, especially game one, you like win the die roll. Half the time you're just gonna like stun your opponent out, like keep them from really doing much, and you're gonna like tag your Buster out like on their end phase, which means you'll have just like a bunch of link materials. And so like you probably just want to play Boral Sword just to kill them like immediately. Like you already stunned them out. You just want to make Boral Sword and just go for game. So I think Boral Sword is probably better than Borlode in this instance. And then for the Exceeds, we play one copy of Gear Gigant X, one Daigusto Emerald, one Dugaris the Timeless, one Abyss Dweller, and one Tornado Dragon. They all just kind of help cover like certain bases. This guy gives you a search of any level 4 machine. That's half your deck. This guy is very important because once you tag a Buster out, that's your only Buster, but you tag him into 3 level 4 monsters. So what you could do if you wanted to was take 2 of those monsters into him and then shuffle the Buster back with some other cards as long as you had other targets that you didn't mind shuffling. Not only do you draw a card, but you also just reset the Buster. As long as you can get the materials back in grave, you'll immediately be able to go into another Buster, which is really nice. Dugaris, mainly using this for the draw effect. So this is one of the reasons why I think you could swap this out for the Barricade Board Blocker, because they do similar things, right? He gets a card out of your hand, like this guy discards, but this draws 2 and then discards 1. So it's actually a +1 on top of discarding a card you already wanted to discard, like a piece that's in your hand that you just want to get out of there. But you do lose your next draw phase. I mean, you're going +1, so it's kind of like you're just drawing a turn early, so it's not that big of a deal. The only thing that matters is it is a +1 to hand, so if you were going to make Buster, it does guarantee that you're going to have like discard fodder for him. So that's like nice as well. So he's fine. He comes up in like specific situations. Dweller, pretty obvious. I mean, it's just so good versus everything. Like, I guess more so versus Eldritch, but also just it says Block Dragon can't be activated this turn in Grave, so that's pretty good. And then Tornado Dragon, just back row decks. This could definitely be subbed out. I mean, we are playing like Unicorn and Phoenix, so like this could be swapped out, but it is overall better as far as like card economy goes. If you're going to put 2 monsters into something, and you're just trying to remove back row, like Tornado Dragon is better than either of those. But if there was something specific you wanted to play here as a rank 4 Exciton Knight or anything like that, you could definitely go for that. But I'm just playing Tornado for now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the extra deck. I really like the utility. Like, everything is utility. Like, get a card out of your deck, get a card out of your hand, negate a card effect, and just have good protection effect. Like instant rank 4, which is pretty cool. Like discard from hand and replenish field spells. Like add a monster, add a spell or trap, add any card. Like go for game, like search a card, recycle and draw and discard. Like lock your opponent out of the extra deck and like pop back row. Like I love just like the utility of the extra deck. And like Dragon Busters, which you usually start off with, you usually go into the other ones like post turn 1. If you're not able to just like scoop up the game with like a Boral Sword on your next turn, you're gonna start going into these Exades, using them for utility. Start removing stuff. Just start forcing your opponent's resources away, so they just can't compete with the amount of like rotating you're gonna do with your like pieces and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. The deck is very cool. I think it's really fun. I love playing like, you know, grindy matches with this deck, because like you really just start to see this deck like rotate its resources like crazy, and that's when people just are just like, I can't do it, I can't keep up. And that's when like the deck feels really good. Almost like Satellar Knights, when they start like just getting their shit going and just get everything rotating. It's almost what it feels like. But yeah, it's a really cool deck. This is my list for right now. Post attorney code. Let me know your thoughts down below, as always. You know, throw your comments down below on any suggestions you have. I'm by no means an ABC connoisseur. I do not know this deck like all the way in and out. I haven't been playing it for like years and years or anything. So I'm definitely appreciative of any advice anybody might have, but that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more deck profiles from me in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.